Yes.
That sounds per our something you'd mentioned to me, like something that you guys are actively doing. Sounds like you're trying to balance out some screen time in your household. What's that all about?
Yeah, so coming from a lot of screen time down to like, hey, this is a lot. um,
You look at the app and it's just like, wow,
yeah.
wow. That's I could have learned a language.
Yeah. Like and again as a gaming dad, it's kind of different, right? Like I think of my
Mm,
parents, like they had no idea what gaming was. Like they could see it as like just TV screen and like, oh, yeah, got to kick them off, go outside, right?
yeah.
But it was, and we're really not coming from a place of like what the hours are. Like again, that is a concern, but it was the attitude changes. So they were getting
Oh,
snarky.
oh
They were
no.
getting like, oh, I get to game before I do my laundry, right? Like it wasn't coming. It wasn't like a give and take. It was just like I get
Yeah.
this. I'm owed this, and I don't have to do
Oh.
anything else, right?
Could I say that I kind of had a visceral dad reaction when you said that? Oh, I could do it before my laundry. It's like, excuse me?
Yeah, yeah,
What was that?
exactly,
I think I
exactly.
think I think I think we just triggered every dad listening to the show. Where it's like every dad just like looks up immediately like, what was that? Pardon
Yeah,
me?
it's the double take, right? Like what?
I said pardon.
Yeah, in the dad voice. So yeah, that's where we were coming from. Where that attitude was not sitting right. Wasn't really helping anybody because then, obviously, they would be upset. We would have to be upset to deal with their upsetness, and then we'd have that conversation. Didn't It like blew out time that we didn't want
Mm,
to spend trying to calm them down on something that obviously was taking away from their responsibilities, right? Just as being a human or part of this family, right? You
mm.
need to help out. You're older now. You are not a toddler that gets to go around and do whatever they want, own the world. A little bit different.
Yeah.
So we kind of introduced. Well, my wife came up with a great kind of analogy, saying it's like you need a certain amount of vitamins to live, right? Like you need different vitamins for different things, and they all come together to make you who you are.
Hmm.
And video games can be one part of that vitamin, right? Like that's
Mm-hmm.
entertainment. But you need other things. You need creativity. You need to go read. You need to go outside and just
Yeah.
burn
Yeah.
off energy.
Activity. Yeah. Yeah.
Like all this stuff comes together to make you who you are. And some days will be a little bit more vitamin of one category than the other. But then, maybe the next day it kind of balances out, right? So
Mm.
we introduced that to them, and to kind of like reset everything, um, we kind of we invite them to the screen. So if we
Hmm.
want to play a movie or something, we invite them to come watch, or we want to play a game, invite them to come play a game, and until they kind of learn, okay, this is enough
Mm.
for me. I need to go
Moderation.
do something else, right? So that's
Mm.
where we're at. It's a rough, bumpy road, but I think we're getting
Yeah.
through it.
It's gonna quick story and then a question because it's just sort of funny when you say they learn the moderation. One thing that had happened was at some point I realized that I would almost prefer my kid to play Minecraft
Hmm.
than watch YouTube,
Okay.
especially some
Yep.
of the YouTube he was watching. It's like if I need you to be on a screen because we're unpacking, for instance, and I really need you locked in for an hour so I can concentrate, I'd almost prefer you be playing Minecraft, which is, in my view, creative and like challenging, as opposed to just YouTube drivel.
Yep.
And there was some times when he would come up because we'd have a conversation where usually Minecraft or like game time was after supper. You eat your supper, then you can have your game. And if you've been good all day and like you've done what you needed to, you can have it after supper.
Right.
There's been a few times where it's like, listen, buddy, you played a bunch during the afternoon, like you can't play anymore. Like that's too much time.
Yep.
So he regulated himself a bit where sometimes he'd come in and say, hey dad, I'm going to turn off the game because I want to play it later tonight. So I'm going to shut it off now so I don't have
Right.
like too much time. I'm like, smart man, smart
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
So
Good. That's good.
I thought I love I love the investment in some ways where it's like, well, I want to make sure I play later, so I don't
Yeah.
want to use it up all now. How has it gone? Like, was there great resentment at first, and then they got over it? Has it been long standing? Has it been? It's never going to be smooth, but I mean, it's
Yeah.
been wonderful in that it's kind of been everything you hoped. What's been the outcome?
It At the beginning, it was very difficult for them because it's like breaking a
Mm.
habit,
Oh
right?
yeah, oh yeah, yeah.
And we're kind of tiptoeing around. Again, everybody's kind of going through a hard time with the pandemic. They're in virtual school for a year. We're working in more and more contacts as things kind of open up. But so we're kind of careful about, their only, kind of escape from a lot of this is games or screens. So we're kind of careful around that. But it was breaking that habit that they were pouty. You know, the pouty where they kind of sit on the couch and they just stare at you. You know what I mean? Like, they're just like,
Yeah.
and you ask them, like, go do something. Like, you can draw, you can paint, you can run, you could do whatever. Like, they're like, no, boring. And then they just sit there, and you're like, well, okay, I'm not gonna
Yeah,
care.
it's my favorite because just like I appreciate the effort, but like you need to understand that this is great for me.
Yeah.
Like I still get you quiet. Like you're not punishing me in the slightest. Like,
Absolutely.
This is just personal.
Yeah, and then, time goes very slowly for a 10, 11-year-old sitting on the couch just pouting, right? Like in their own kind of like emotional stew. So by all means, you'll learn your lesson if you sit there that long. But over the days and weeks, I guess I would say, it has gotten a lot better. They are more into a different routine and kind of understand what we're trying to do and what was happening, and their attitudes have changed, especially towards each other. A lot better
great.
collaboration there. They take morning walks. They instituted that themselves. We didn't even
Wow.
tell them. So
And
they are coming up with these things. So it's great. It's good to see.
let's go on a tangent. Didn't they discover a husky and started to
God.
walk it for no
Okay.
reason? And this, I'll remind listeners from a few episodes ago
Oh.
where one of Jeff's sons had invited the entire neighborhood for a block party, unbeknownst to his parents. So
Yeah.
there's a new story with a husky, apparently.
Yeah, so I'm at work. I work remotely. My younger son comes in and saying, "Hey, Dad, we found this lost husky. We love him, and we're gonna take him for a walk." And as a dad, you're like, "What is going on?" There's lots
we
to
love him.
process.
And I'll love him, and I'll keep him, and I'll pet him. And
I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm just like going through my mind. I'm like, did they mistake a coyote for a husky, and now they're trying to train this coyote that's wild running
God.
around? I don't know. So anyway, I go out there, and my older son, the one that arranged his own block party, is running along with his husky that is just loving it. Like, he's having the time of his life.
it's like, yeah, finally, someone's paying attention to me.
Yeah, he's found his new best friend. So, they found this lost husky. We eventually got him to his rightful owner, but only after I, basically left work for 45 minutes to try and leash this dog and find out where he lived. But yeah, so there's some side effects, I think, from, this kind of individual go do other things. I'm like, other things, great,
Okay.
but like,
It's like I love the intent. I love
Yeah.
the animal loving. I love the nature part of this, son.
yeah.
The dog theft doesn't fly though.
No, we need to not go to strange dogs and befriend them immediately. I honestly thought it would go outside and he would be riding the thing into battle or something. It's just his personality. He'll make friends with anybody. So
That'd be...
I don't know, man.
When did your life take a drastic turn? My dad took away my video games, so I started stealing dogs.
That's how it starts. He's learning
just-
on the streets.